EThekwini Metro still outstanding. Some parties in KwaZulu-Natal already have reason to celebrate. The IFP is one of the parties to have gained momentum and has increased its support right across the province. But that's just one province. There's so many other interesting ones to be looking at. Just on that story of the IFP, it's maintained to retain the 13 municipalities that were under its control and regained a few that it had lost to the ANC since 2006. The IFP's most recent strongest rival, the NFP, has won back the Edumbe municipality, which it governed in 2011, and it lost in 2016 after it failed to contest the 2016 local government elections. However, it couldn't expand its support base. Another party that's made history is the Democratic Alliance, which won its first ever municipality in the province, the Umgeni local municipality, which has its seat in Howick. The ANC and EFF will be the opposition benches. Action SA has meanwhile won the Newcastle ward. All right, well, to take a look at more interesting stories that are emerging out of these elections 21 and the results that have been coming in, we've got SABC specialist researcher Maswele Ralebona, who's there by the touchscreen just to talk us through some of those interesting ones, like we said in KZN, some very interesting results emerging there. But good morning to you.
Good morning,
Leon. You
Leon.
must be exhausted.
Yes. Hey, we've been burning this midnight candle.
You have.
Yes. But did you guys see that the number of hung councils in this year's municipalities have gone up already?
Yes.
Despite the fact that only 58% of the VDs have been confirmed.
Yeah.
But we have 35 hung councils so far.
Wow.
We of course we're expecting more, and everybody's projecting more. So at this point, ANC is leading at 74 of the municipalities, of which 54 of them has been decided they belong to the ANC, which means they still have to go and negotiate in some of them. So now let's go to Gauteng, because the most important thing right now, or the biggest question, is the metros. People are asking themselves, what's going to happen in the metros? Let's go to City of Joburg. So far,
just while you're doing that, just for the SAFM listeners,
yes,
sort of describe what's happening. Obviously, if you're watching us on the TV, it's great. But if you're on SAFM, Maswele is standing in front of a big screen and he's getting graphics up, which is from the IEC website, on the SABC website as well. And he's zooming in on each of the individual wards, the individual areas as well. So sorry, I just had to describe that for the SAFM listeners.
Thank you, John. Thank you. So far in Gauteng, we go into the City of Joburg, the metros. ANC is leading there by 34.68% and 15 seats. DA follows through with 25.5% and 2 seats. IFP 2.4% and 1 seat. We've got Action SA at 16.61%, EFF at 11.7%, FF Plus 1.4%. And let's quickly go back to Gauteng. Now we zoom into the city of Tshwane.
Sorry, I believe my microphone was off when I was explaining what was happening, so we've got to do that again just very quickly. Maswele is, if you're listening to us on SAFM, this is a dual broadcast. Remember, we're on TV and we're broadcasting on SAFM. Maswele is busy going into the touch screen here on the set, and he's making sure and zooming in on the different areas and the different numbers, going into the different municipalities as well, and you can find all those details on the IEC website as well. Sorry, I had to explain.
Thank you, John. Let's go to the city of Tshwane. We will check only the top 3. Only 23% of the VDs have been confirmed so far. And as you can see there, the DA is leading with 35%, followed by the ANC at 32%, the EFF at 10%. This is the mark that many analysts or those who are doing projections are saying the EFF looks like it has reached its ceiling by now, because in most of the municipalities, especially in the metros, they seem to be getting at 10% or less. Let's go to Rand West in Gauteng. This is a municipality that was under the leadership of the ANC. So far, the ANC is battling at 45%, DA 23%, EFF at 15%. Also, in this municipality, all the VDs have been declared, which means this is one of the hung municipalities where the ANC, or the ANC, yes, it will be the ANC that will need to negotiate either with DA or the EFF over issues of control. Leon?
Yeah, interesting. I mean, it is interesting to be seeing. I mean, as you're going through, I'm busy looking at it too, because these are interesting results that we're seeing here coming through. And this is obviously now going into provincials and really breaking it down, digging into these, into the different municipalities. But it doesn't matter which way you look at it. I mean, from here, just looking at these numbers, there are going to be so many negotiations happening on the sidelines, so many coalitions. This is going to be a very tiring experience for parties to try and sort of come together and figure out who's going to work with who, because there's just no clear majority winners. It's
going to be tough. It's going to be tough. Given what happened in the past 5 years, we know what happened in the metros. 3 of them, to be specific, where it was difficult to even pass budgets and have a mayor to complete at least 2 years. You know what happened in the Nelson Mandela Bay. We know what happened in the city of Joburg. We know what happened here in Tshwane. So let's go to Ekurhuleni. Here, this is the only metro that went into coalition in 2016, but the mayor, Mzondile Masina, managed to keep it together for 5 years without any hassles there. So far, the ANC standing at 38.1%, DA following through at 28.7%, EFF at 13%. Seats allocation, as you can see there, the ANC is leading with 21 seats, followed by the DA at 8 seats, and there hasn't been any seat allocated to the EFF.
That's fascinating, because we look at percentages, but in the end it comes down to the amount of seats that are going to be in the council. So it's interesting, you were saying what EFF has 12% of the votes, but they don't have any seats in the council yet. So will that come later? Obviously, the more that's being counted, we will be able to see seats being allocated to parties.
In most cases, even if you check at the board behind us, you will realize that many of the seats that have been allocated are ward seats, because those are easy to determine.
Right.
By the time the voting, the result slips leaves the VD or the ward, that has already been declared. Whereas when it comes to the PR seats, the IEC still needs to go and calculate based on the percentages who gets what. And proportional representation, even the formula that they use, some says it's not fair, some says it goes down to democratic representation. It accommodates everyone.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk a little bit more about that later on. We've got Terry Tselane coming through, so I'll specifically ask about that in terms of how that allocation is done, the sort of formula that is applied. But very interesting, with the hung councils, last municipal elections, we had 4 metros that had hung councils, the 3 in Gauteng, city of Joburg, Ekurhuleni, Tshwane, and of course Nelson Mandela Bay. Yeah. Those were the 4 metros.
Those were the 4
that
metros
had hung councils. But it's not new to South Africa. From the very first local government elections, we had in that election 29 hung councils. It increased to 31 in 2006, which included the city of Cape Town. And then in the year 2011, we had a record 37 hung councils. And after that, of course, 2016, we had the 4 metros that were also hung among those that came through. So, it's not new, but are we going to see some sort of maturity, or do we actually need to legislate for these coalitions? Just some questions to think about.
Also, you're right. It looks like South Africa is heading towards the coalition government. Some are even predicting that we are likely to see that in the next national elections if this trend continues. Also, given that the ANC, even in the national elections, has been recording low percentages. From 2014, they were sitting at 62%, and in the past elections, they recorded 57%. In these local government elections, the ANC came from 60 plus in 2011, they went to 53 in 2016, and now we can see they're struggling to register 50%. So quickly, let's go into the city of EThekwini, in which this also, as I've said before, even before we came here, every time I was asked about the metros, I included this particular city of EThekwini, Durban, that it's likely to form part of the hung metros. Look at it now. The ANC is sitting at 40.1%, which means so far it looks like it will form part of the hung metros. The DA at 30%, EFF there at 9%.
So what we can see, John, is that you obviously also have a clear picture of results there that are already declared, and where you have hung councils declared already in KZN. So you have Edumbe, where the NFP got 33.54% of the vote, ANC 28.53%, and the IFP 23.26%. So obviously things are already starting to move, and a clearer picture is starting to emerge. And then the next one, Ematlangeni, IFP there, 35%, ANC 29.04%, and the DA 10.45%. Dan Hauser also hung municipality, as well as Ndumeni. So there you already have 4 in KZN, in addition to EThekwini, which of course hasn't completed counting, but it seems to be stacking up in that way.
Yes. Also, Sakina, KZN teaches us that despite low voter turnout, people are still going there, and they choose from different political parties. Because the more we have more hung councils, it means the so-called stronghold, strong this and that, is very soon it will be a thing of the past.
Yeah.
Lots of shifts happening in this election. It really is. So these are
CSIR coming through, and these are,
always
me and
interesting to talk to
CSIR.
them.
But anyway,
very nice to talk to them.
What I find interesting about the KwaZulu-Natal numbers is, as you were saying earlier, that there's no stronghold. There's no one party that's dominating the province. From the IFP, ANC, NFP, each little town, each individual area seems to have different following. It's not like you can say now KwaZulu-Natal is an IFP province or an ANC province.
but there's definite regional dominance that we see in some parts, and if you look at the maps, and if we can just explain to our radio listeners, where you have colors on these maps, and you will see there's green, and then there's quite a bit of a sort of brownish color on the map as well, which in the northern parts of the province, the Zululand area, that sort of area as well, which Maswele can talk to us a little bit more about.
Indicating the IFP for those of you that are listening.
Yes,
very far away from
NFP.
In terms of percentage, KZN right now is sitting the VDs declared is 46%, and the ANC is leading. But ANC in KZN again hasn't reached 50%.
Yeah.
The ANC is sitting at 42.1%, IFP 24%, DA at 12%. Talking about your colors, the green in the map is the ANC. The brownish color in the map is the IFP, and the brown,
the darker brown,
the darker brown
NFP.
is the NFP.
Yeah.
You know the relationship between the NFP and the IFP.
There's also a little bit of blue somewhere there, and which party is that?
A PEMO.
This is called a PEMO. I don't have details
Don't know
about
much
this,
about that party, but it's got some votes there.
It looks like one of those community civic groups who starts as a protest movement, and come elections, they register, they contest the elections, and if there's anything to go by, you can see there they are doing very well, which means the Okahlamba local municipality will end up in a coalition. But only must also
it's only
note
19%.
that only 19% of the VDs.
So
but
they got 3,000 votes,
like this,
which is a good thing for
yes,
them.
If it continues like this, anything can happen.
Anything can happen anywhere. But, the reality is that we're looking at these numbers that, have slowed down in terms of counting quite a bit. So we haven't moved too much with regard to what's been happening overnight, unfortunately. And, I heard the IEC blaming load shedding in certain areas. I'm not too sure if that's a good enough reason, to be honest with you.
I was confused by that because to me it's all paper ballots, and I know things have to be electronically reported and maybe use the internet to supply the information here. But surely, if you're counting a piece of paper, you can do that with the talk.
And then submitting it through. I had a look just to see kind of where we're at. I looked at the ward that I voted at, and not a single vote's been counted there yet. And I'm thinking, hang on, how did that happen? There's one area that, you go to different, whether it be a school or a community hall or wherever to go and cast your vote. So a voting station. So only one of my entire ward has put their results through. The rest, which is a much longer list, they haven't been counted. There's no results. So
the IEC also told us that they had contingency plans in place. So, we should get, an answer as to what exactly is happening, hopefully. Yeah. And before we wrap this up, I just have to tell you that my little town that I hail from, we always making the news,
story.
Always.
Go for it. Tell us the story.
Standerton, as you know, became the first municipality to have its council completely dissolved in this country, where the biggest employer in the town approached the High Court that actually instructed national government to intervene in order to have services delivered. So the council was completely dissolved. So everybody out and an administrator put in place. So that's a bit of history.
Yeah.
And now with the elections, this is the first time ever in Mpumalanga that the ANC has gotten below 50% in any of the municipalities. They were out first in that. So ANC no longer in control in the Lekwa municipality. They've dipped below 50, and it's going to be interesting to see how the opposition actually goes about constituting this particular council.
I know we have Professor Susan Boyson coming up on the show sometime, and she knows all about coalitions. I can't wait to find out what her views are going to be.
Yeah, looking forward to it. So we need to let you go, Maswele. We're going to be speaking to you a lot, I know that, but I think you've given us some great, interesting perspective into some of the different results that have been coming through, the national picture, the municipal, the provincial. It's been really fantastic. So we'll let you go for now, and we'll chat to you again later. Thanks, Maswele. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right, so we're going to take a quick little
we
break here, and I think we've got some... No break.